Hey everyone, Past Lives in the Divine is now Seer Sessions. And I am still Gina, still your hypnotist, still the host of this podcast. Past Lives in the Divine was about using hypnosis to experience other lifetimes for new perspectives, healing, and Seer Sessions is that plus it's expanded. We're going to continue to learn and explore within the trance space using hypnosis, but this time the emphasis is using these experiences to bring more of our higher self wisdom, love, and creativity into this life today. Since last December, I've been running sessions with these podcast clients, understanding how people connect to and understand their higher self energy. And I've recorded those, and I'll be sharing those sessions at some point in the future. I learned so much doing those podcast client sessions. And felt like there was something missing. I often don't notice things when they're right in front of me. I think it's genetic. And I was thinking like, I don't know what's missing. And then I thought, I don't know, but fuck it. I have all these questions left over from last year. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But I thought, why don't I explore those? So here I am. I'm pulling over to the curb. I'm slowing down. I'm going to open the door. You're going to jump in and you're going to go on these journeys with me as I continue to explore. So I'll be sharing my sessions. I'm exploring things like where are we going when we're experiencing other lifetimes? What is the higher self? How does that show up with you? What can we use that energy for? What is the astral plane, astral projection, astral travel? Like all of these questions I want to dive even more into. I want to understand how beliefs and perception shape our lives. And what does consciousness have to do with all of this? Because it is the backdrop to all of it. So I'm sharing my sessions. I'm going to share clips of some upcoming sessions in just a little bit because some of them really helped me outline where am I going with this higher self energy and these higher self sessions and these higher self stories on this podcast. So I have podcast client sessions coming for you in a few months. I have my own sessions that I'll be sharing. And then I also have hypnotic journeys. I'll be releasing an episode this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You're going to get some hypnotic journeys. You're going to get a fun conversation with Kelly Smith. And next week, I start the regular schedule. On Tuesday, my plan is to, most of the time anyway, share a session. And then on Thursday, share a hypnotic journey. So if you found the session on Tuesday interesting and you want to go get those similar insights, wisdom, information for your own life, I will have a hypnotic journey that you can take that is similar to the one that I took while exploring in my own session earlier that week. And then as this podcast progresses, I'll be adding, I'm sure, different themed episodes, different series. We'll see how it unfolds. I'm very much being led by my intuition. I mean, I am reaching new levels of letting go and not sweating the small stuff. And things are getting appropriately weird. For my hypnosis sessions, the ones where I'm a client, the ones that kick off next week, I'm going to start exploring where 2024 left me. I did so many mind expanding things in 2024, and it answered all of my spiritual questions and then gave me more insights, which led to more questions. Here's kind of where I'm starting. I'm going to share this clip. This is a clip spliced from one of my higher self sessions that I did with Soulful Stephanie facilitating the session. In the last year, I've been on such a journey trying to understand consciousness and what is it and where are we going on these journeys and what are we experiencing? And I know that no one has the capital A answers to that. I know that we don't have the answers to that, but I need some way of comprehending it. I don't know what it is about me, but I need to know. I need to be able to ground these things into everyday life. I've been on this journey and I'm so split. It's either everything or nothing. It's either everything I've dreamed, everything I've experienced. There is a red planet. I can go there with my awareness. I have been going there for lifetimes. There is all of this. There are elves and fairies and all of it. All of it is true. But then there's just as much of me that's like, it's nothing. None of it matters. And that's terrifying. That's worse to me. But then I think, if none of it matters and all of it's made up, all these experiences that feel so transcendental, so magic, if I'm really making those up, I'm even more impressed.
Mm-hmm.
But now I almost feel like going public with Red Planet conversations and that sort of thing. Part of me is like, should I have pivoted to writing fiction of some sort? Or am I still in the spiritual realm? I don't know. Like, I don't know. You'll hear more from that session and sessions just like it in the upcoming weeks, and you'll be able to take those hypnotic journeys so you can get similar answers for yourself. In 2024, I did some pretty mind expanding things. I do not do anything lightly. At the beginning of 2024, I remember telling a friend, I am seeking full ego death. I am so sick of my shit. I'm so sick of the self criticism. I'm so sick of wondering, is this real? What am I doing? And just filled with self doubt. And in that, I set out to just do things that would physically make me prove myself to myself, do things that would expand my consciousness, do things outside of hypnosis that expand my consciousness, because it's been a while since I've done that. In 2024, in April, I hiked 50 miles with a group of 4 other women across southern Utah. And to say hike implies a trail. There was no trail. We were doing route finding, bushwhacking, boulder hopping, walking in the Escalante River, walking through little canyon pools that were ice cold up to your thighs, no service. And then, like a month later, I hiked myself across that Grand Canyon. That Grand Canyon. I walked all the way across it by myself. Took me 10 hours. I busted ass. I went as fast as I could. And I did a couple of weekends, a couple of ceremonies, rituals with ayahuasca. I celebrated the summer solstice with friends, and then I had more friends come into town. I hosted a retreat. And about a year ago, I started intentionally connecting in meditation, in hypnosis, in channeled writing with my higher self, exploring that connection. What is that to me? How can this benefit my life? In summer of 2024, I did a few small road trips, or I guess small for me. I did Colorado. I went to the eastern side of the Sierras for one of my trips. A lot of time on the south rim of the Grand Canyon. In October, I spent 2 weeks in Egypt with a spiritual group. And on the last full night that we were there, we had a private tour. We were all at one point up in the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid on the Giza Plateau in Egypt. And each one of us got the opportunity to lay in the sarcophagus up there. And the rest of us chanted ohms over whoever was in that sarcophagus. And to be in that sarcophagus, to be ohmed at by so many people, it was an incredible experience. And even watching everyone take their turn and meditating and ohming over them was really incredible. So all of that, it expanded me. And what I've noticed the most is that most of my troublesome thoughts really come from disbelief, like not believing in myself. And that's become even more clear how pervasive that disbelief can be. Here's a clip from another session that Soulful Stephanie facilitated, one that you're going to be able to hear in the next couple weeks, about this idea of my lack of belief and where I've been at recently on that journey. If I was egotistical, so filled up with myself, I would probably be like, nope, this is me making all this shit up. But I think that in the spiritual community, a lot of us have been rattled and our confidence crushed because everything we've sensed our whole lives, we've been told we're wrong. Have I constructed all of this so I can trust myself? Have I created spirit guides that feel so real to me just so I can move forward because I don't have the confidence? In that same session, Steph then asked me, as we were meandering around beliefs and my ability to believe, she had asked, if you believed, would you explore? And it was the perspective shift that I needed to not be working on why don't I believe and kind of beating myself up about it or searching for it. And I can still do that in the ways that a lack of belief holds me back. But it's also so powerful for me personally to be able to feel that lack of belief and say, oh, it's actually benefiting me. Because here's the thing, if it's benefiting me in a way, consciously or unconsciously, I'm going to keep doing it. I can either understand it and go with the flow or not understand it and wonder why I am a certain way. And so here's a little bit more about that from that same session. I know I've said this on Past Lives in the Divine too. I'm almost more impressed if I'm making it up, but no one knows. We'll never know until we leave this body. If we even know then. I don't know. Maybe we won't even know then. But I would rather live in a way with beliefs and interests that build community, help me love myself and other people more, and help me to lead by example, because that is legacy, is how we leave people feeling. And in turn, does that change them so they can change other people in a way that's more compassionate and loving? What I care about is to push people in the right direction, including myself. And I have that dream and that desire for that exploration. And I'm curious enough and deep and varied enough that what looks like oversharing is sharing about 20% of what's really going on.
Yeah.
And so what is oversharing and juicy for other people to listen to isn't a big risk for me. And which is why, and I've said this before, when people are like, "Oh, you're so brave for sharing," and it's like, you should hear the shit I don't share.
Yeah.
Like I've
Me
got
too.
closets of skeletons, closets, people, and and so that actually puts me right where I need to be. It's like I've been equipped with all this internal drama that whatever spills out of me when I have a microphone in front of me doesn't feel like I'm giving a lot, but it helps people a ton.
Yeah.
And I would rather live like that. Like that's the most important thing to me. Okay, so if belief is a choice, then I am going to believe it. And every time I notice myself not believing it, I'm going to notice and choose to believe instead. And the way I do that is it's a choice, but then also it's a intention. It's where I'm putting my thoughts. It's what I'm thinking about and being intentional about the thoughts that are running through my head. So if I'm not believing, I'm going to notice and I'm going to make a choice because no one knows. No one knows. So I'm believing and I'm trusting myself. And now we're getting even more weird. Enter the red planet. Here's another clip from a session that I did with Stephanie that you're going to hear in the next couple weeks. Here's how we get to the red planet of it all. Don't get so twisted about what the other people are doing or thinking. Focus on yourself because we'll never know. We'll never know what's in their world. Because will Stephanie or anyone be able to be in this chair, in this body, experiencing the red planet from my point of view? No, that's only for me. It makes me cherish it because no one can cherish it like I can or am. And it makes me get so curious about what is your red planet, so to speak. Where is your place where you feel like your higher self? Oh my God, this is, hang on, it's coming to me. Oh my God. So I'm so glad the fucking vision of my podcast is coming together. We're 9 days from launch. What this is about is past life regression. A lot of times the idea is, how do you want to feel? Let's go to a lifetime where you're feeling that way. That's great. We should still do that. What's bothering you? Let's go to the root of this. I think there's a better way, but if you're driven to explore that way, yeah, go for it. And what's next? What the red planet is teaching me, what my higher self is teaching me. Why don't we ask to go to the life where we were our highest and best self?
Yeah.
So yes, Gina, share what works for you to gain wisdom and love from your higher self. But in the other lifetime experience, maybe the prompt is, what's your red planet life? And what I mean is like my red planet life is the life where I'm closest to the consciousness that is my higher self. That is the most divine aspect of me. And so that's the journey. That's what I'm showing.
Yeah.
I'm showing I believe this is a part of me. It might look fucked up the way I'm getting there, but I believe it on some level. It's working. And so to believe or trust the knowledge that's coming and to trust that as it builds and nourishes me, it will naturally overflow to other people. I am following my intuition. I am just doing the next step in front of me and getting curious about how this unfolds. I've been a client of hypnosis since 2013. What's interesting to me is the evolution of my voice. In these clips, it sounds like I'm wide awake, but it's just what happens. The more time we spend in an altered state of consciousness, the more aware we are, what we're aware of expands. It's all pretty beautiful to watch it come together. And with my comfort in this space, at one point during the session, I turn the tables on Steph and I start asking her about this life that she had experienced, where she was on a different planet and it was all about community and love and energy management. Knowing that she had had that experience, we were wondering, like, what was Stephanie's role in all of this? And what does that all mean? And what can she do with that information? Here's a little bit about what we got with Steph.
With those ideas in mind, what is the connection between you and I and the exploration of these planets or other dimensions?
Yeah, that was your life where you are operating in a consciousness closest to your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
Does that feel right?
100%. Yeah.
That is your red planet, so to speak. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so my question is, how does I'm using my experience like this? It's taken me 5 years to get here, relying on it to the point where I can explore it, believing in it enough that I can explore it. But I'm wondering, how can Steph use that connection more in her life today? So I asked that question, Steph, and I want you to pay attention. Now I'm acting like the hypnotist while I'm being hypnotized. Does my control know no bounds? Okay. So you pay attention to what comes to mind too.
Okay.
I know you're halfway to this planet anyway. My read on what you do with that is what anyone can do with it. You can lean into it, explore it, try to embody more of it, ask questions. If that's what makes you feel light and creative and passionate and excited, then yes, do that. And what we can get from our higher self is what we can get from that lifetime where we embodied a consciousness that was the closest to our divine self, that higher knowing, inner guidance, our higher self. And so just like we can go to a past life, or we have been, to get clarity on something or embody something different, this is a way to really embody that, the highest and greatest version of you, and bring more of it into your life today. So you could use it however you want. And I'm sure you're getting ideas of questions you could ask your higher self or that lifetime, or understand what you were doing and what's that version of quote help that you could execute here. Can you continue that mission in a different way? And again, if it's all made up, it's good lessons to live by. If we all lived by it, this would be a better place. And that's how it is with everyone's higher self. It's not that, I mean, I am special. No one can have a red planet experience like mine, but everyone has an experience opportunity like this for themselves. So the podcast Seer sessions, it's similar to Past Lives in the Divine, but more expansive, more focused also on consciousness, on your higher self, on that transcendental state and using it, understanding even more ways that we can use it that feel like a gift in our life. All right, everybody, that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow with a conversation with Kelly Smith. And if you want to experience a Seer session yourself, go to seersessions.com.